morning. Thanks for working with us on the lovely change of venue issues we've had this morning, but now we're ready to go. I'm Maggie Toulouse Oliver, Bernalillo County Clerk. I'm joined here by three of our wonderful county commissioners in Bernalillo County who are each going to say a few words in just a moment. But the reason we're gathered here today is to celebrate National Voter Registration Day, a day that we set aside to recognize the important role that possessing and exercising the right to vote plays in our nation's democracy. There is no better way to make your voice heard than by casting a ballot, and this is something that I talk about all the time here in Bernalillo County. Our democracy is strengthened when Americans participate in the election process and turn out in large numbers to vote. Currently in Bernalillo County, we have approximately 418,000 registered voters, but more can be done to ensure that our citizens have a say in their government, and it starts with reaching out to those who have not yet registered to vote. And that's why I'm honored to announce that our office will be working with each of the 5 Bernalillo County commissioners to increase voter registration county-wide by training 250 new individuals to become third-party voter registration agents. So today we want to talk not only about registering to vote, but we're putting out a call to action to individuals to get out in the community, to get out in their county commission districts and across the county to be trained and to register others to vote as well. Third-party voter registration agents are individuals who solicit and provide assistance to another person in the completion of a voter registration form. These individuals demonstrate a remarkable commitment to our democracy by enabling their fellow citizens to be heard through the act of registering to vote. There are currently 4,573 third-party voter registration agents here in Bernalillo County, and they have combined to help 67,800 Bernalillo County residents to register to vote, by far the most of any county in New Mexico. Those who have registered to vote through a third-party agent make up more than 16% of registered voters in the county. In order to reach our goal of 250 new third-party voter registration agents, we are going to co-host 5 events, one in each district of each of the 5 commissioners, to inform their constituents about the opportunity to serve in this capacity and provide them with the skills necessary to be a success. I'm confident that by working with each commissioner to reach out to our citizens at a community level, we will create a renewed interest in civic participation throughout Bernalillo County. Before I announce where and when we are going to be kicking these off and how to find out more information, I am going to ask our commissioners that are here with me today to each say a few words about what we are planning to do in their district and their comments about this particular project. So I will be happy to introduce Commissioner Wayne Johnson first.
Well, thank you all for coming today. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Voting it's our voice. That's how we communicate as individuals to our elected leaders. We often talk about the Pledge of Allegiance, and we say this, especially if you're in school or actually in government, you say it quite frequently. But we don't take the time to actually make our real voice, our vote, heard. And the registration in each one of these districts and registration in general is the first step towards really making your voice heard at the elected level. You're our bosses as voters, and if you don't go out and vote, you no longer are being heard, and that's really a tragic type state of affairs. So I want to encourage everybody in my district and countywide to get out and vote. I want them to get registered during these events and make sure your voice is heard on Election Day. Thank you again, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Now I'll invite County Commissioner Vice Chair Ardella Cruz to please say a few words.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. There isn't a better way that you can enfranchise yourself than by registering to vote. So as the clerk and Commissioner Johnson said, that is your voice, and it's absolutely critical. I often hear, not only through a variety of media sources, that as elected officials we're criticized for a number of situations and things that happen in our communities and throughout our state. So if you want to make sure that we do our job, that elected officials across the entire state do their job, and nationally, that you register to vote. I've been voting since I was 18 years old. First chance I got to vote, I was a student at the University of New Mexico. I'm very proud of that. So I encourage all citizens, particularly New Mexicans and those of my district particularly, to register to vote. It's absolutely essential. You fulfill your duty as an American, and it's critical. Thank you.
Thank Thank you, Vice Chair De La Cruz. And now, last but certainly not least, I'll invite County Commissioner Lonnie Talbert to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Most of the things have been said already this morning regarding our constitutional right to get out and vote. It's always exciting to watch when you see new people join the system to vote. 18 years old, as Commissioner De La Cruz stated, I was excited to vote my very first time too. And now having children who are 19 years old and 23 years old, having them have the ability to go out and cast their voice to make a difference is exciting to me. And I hope that everyone will go out, as mentioned, and really get registered if you're not, or if you are registered, get another person to go vote. Get another person to register. Find someone who hasn't had the chance and show them what it's all about, because it is your chance to cast that important decision-making ability as to who will run our country, who will run our city, who will run our state, who will run our commission, who will run our councils. That is your way you do it. Cast the vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. And I want to reiterate my thanks once again to each of our 5 county commissioners, including County Commissioner Debbie O'Malley and Maggie Hart-Stebbins, who couldn't be with us today. Each one of the commissioners is partnering with my office in reaching out into their communities to help find approximately 50 new people in each district to train and get out over the course of the next year registered, getting individuals registered to vote. And as I promised, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about how we're kicking this off. But before I do that, I just want to quickly acknowledge my staff, my voter registration outreach staff, who work every day with members of the community to get folks trained and registered as third-party voter registration agents, work with them. So thanks to my staff that works so hard to do that. We also have wonderful partners in the community, many of which are here today, who are third-party registration agents and who help convene trainings of other individuals to get them registered and out in the community. And I want to thank all of you for being here today as well. Without that partnership between our office and members of the community, we wouldn't have had the success that we've had in registering almost 68,000 registered voters here in Bernalillo County through third-party voter registration agents. And so, without further ado, the first of these events is going to be taking place this Friday, September 25th, from 5:30 to 8 at the North Valley Senior Center. That's in Commissioner Debbie O'Malley's district, District 1. The address is 3825 4th Street Northwest, and it is open to everyone in the county who wishes to come down and get trained and become a third-party voter registration agent. We're looking very much forward to working with Commissioner O'Malley on this first training. And again, we're excited to work with each of the county commissioners in the weeks that follow, and we are going to be announcing those dates as we and locations as we firm them up. We do have the information on the trainings that have already been established, and as they become established on our website, bernco.gov/clerk, and you can sign up for a training and to get information about the training at our website. With that, do we have any questions? All right.
For someone that may have registered in the past and maybe not voted in the last 2 elections, are they like, I don't know if I'm still registered or not, should they go and register, or how can they find out if they are or not?
To find out if you're registered to vote, you can always call our office at 468-1291, or you can use our My Voter Information website app. Go to our website at bernco.gov/clerk and look up My Voter Information. You put in your name and your birth date, and if we have your record, if we have you as a registered voter, that information will come up. And if not, then that probably means you need to get registered. And obviously, you know, with the state fair going on, with a lot of fall events going on here in New Mexico, third-party voter registration agents as well as my office are going to be out in force in the community at different events. You can also register to vote, of course, at our office at Civic Plaza, at the MVD, or at your local library.
So what is it specifically that you're going to be doing out there? Is it just people walking by, hey, are you registered? Hey, are you registered? What is it the training's going to be received? What is the push?
The trainings are to get 250 new voter registration agents out in our community. And they register voters a variety of different ways. Sometimes third-party voter registration agents are doing door-to-door efforts. They're going out into specific communities to target people specifically to get them registered. Sometimes they are at different community events. Sometimes they'll table out in front of the library or out in front of Walmart or things like that. Third-party voter registration agents are just simply members of the community, and they're either working with the groups or they're working as individuals, trying to target their local communities, their friendship groups, their community organizations, whatever it is that they work with, to try to reach out to other members of the community to register them to vote. We just want to increase those numbers, and by working targeted in each of the 5 districts, by trying to find new people to become agents in each of these districts, we're really trying to have a really county-wide focus.
You keep stressing third party. Why is that important?
It's important because the truth of the matter is, at the county level, we don't have the resources to do everything that we would like to do in terms of voter outreach, right? I have a wonderful staff, and they are at almost every event that they can possibly be, but we don't have the capability, we don't have the resources, we don't have enough people to be out in the community all the time. And that's why it's really important to have these other individuals, basically volunteers, members of the community, who are the ones that are willing to go out and go to community events and knock on people's doors and have that reach into the community that we don't have the resources in the clerk's office or here at the county level to be able to do ourselves.
Do we know how many eligible voters are actually registered to vote in Bernalillo County?
Thank you, Paul, for that question. I will get back to you with that answer.
Will there be a challenge among commissioners to see who can deliver the most?
I've already won that one.
I don't know, but I think that's a great idea. We'll have to start a pool.
I was looking at projections for the elections, and it was really up in the air because it really would depend on who turns out and what supporters come out. So could you talk a little bit about how you really can make a difference in this election?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I always try to point people back to the 2000 presidential election here in New Mexico. If folks may or may not remember this because we had a bigger issue going on in Florida that year, but here in New Mexico we also had a recount in the presidential election, and it came down to 365 vote difference statewide. We have more precincts than that in Bernalillo County, and so I think that is a perfect illustration of every single vote really mattering, especially in a presidential year. I think a lot of people take for granted that presidential elections really excite and motivate people to turn out and vote, but it's really important to remember that unless people take that personal responsibility to get registered and go to the polls, then we can have these really close elections like that 2000 presidential election potentially here in New Mexico. And in that particular case, every vote really did matter.
Do you know the numbers for the number of people who are eligible to vote but are not registered?
We have approximately 1.2 million registered voters in the state of New Mexico, and our current statewide population is around 2 million. In terms of the voting age population, it's about 1.8 million. So we still have about a third of the potential voting age population that we need to work on getting registered to vote.